big crap game certainly was against my will. I lost every Garstone nickel I had, but a greenback dollar bill. A $40 bet was laying on the floor. My buddy's point was 9. The police come, they grabbed all of us, but I got mine. Yep, I got mine. I got mine. I got it all at good sport. I've been shooting dice all the time. Some of them boys got 30 days, and others they got 9. They brought those stripes in the very next morning. I got mine. Let me tell you about a barber shop here on old Watteau Street. The onlyest place on any Saturday night that the gambling men do meet. Some of them will come for a haircut, and others come for a scrap. See me and my buddies going up that way. We're gonna mean to shoot some craps. Gonna holler now 7, 11, won't you come, come, come? And if you don't 7-11 die some, done, done, done. See the police, for he sees me, I'm gonna run, run, run. Cause I'm a leader of the high society folks, since I got mine. Now let me tell you about a turkey feed. You know the dinner, it was certainly fine. About 15 minutes before the table was set, all the jolly bugs fell in line. When they brought those gobblers out, the rascals I did shine. Well, you can talk about a rascal. I grabbed in and I got mine. Yeah, I got mine. I got mine. I said I grabbed that gobbler by his wing, and out the back door I went flying. I tried to make it to a hiding place I knew about. I never got there in time. A rascal grabbed me right by my collar, and I got mine. Yeah, said I got mine. I got mine. I got it at good sport. I've been shooting dice all the time. Some of them boys have got 30 days, and others they got 9. They brought those stripes in the very next morning. Ooh, I got mine. I went to my very best gal's house in an hour, it was just about 9. Wasn't dressed up exactly like Henry Ford, but I was looking mighty doggone fine. I caught her sitting in another rascal's lap, and I didn't like that sign. I told that rascal what I thought about him. Got mine. Thank you very much. That's one of my early hits there. I got that from an old man in South Carolina named Pink Anderson, who I've told you about many times. I hope you've been here before, and if not, welcome. Pink Anderson made 2 records in 1927 for Columbia Records, and that was that. I got nervous when my second record came out. We made a third. I'd like to do an old Florida song for you now. Florida's home these days, by the late, great Blind Blake. Blind Blake was the greatest guitar-picking blues singer from Jacksonville that ever existed. And he sang in Jacksonville for many years on the streets and at little house parties and things. Sometimes he was way over on the West Coast, 128 miles away in Tampa, St. Pete Beach, Sarasota. By 1927-28, he got the call to go to Chicago to make records and take a shot at the music business. He went up there and was quite successful. He recorded over 100 beautiful recordings. Some acoustic, everything was acoustic, some solo guitar pieces, Sometimes he backed up classic female blues singers in the Ma Rainey class. Sometimes he worked with little jazz bands. He was doing real well up there, Blind Blake was. About 1931, all the musicians were gathering around a regular spot, and nobody seen Blind Blake. They started asking around, where's Blind Blake? Nobody knew. He was gone, and nobody's seen him since. Disappeared. I always figured that if Blind Blake disappeared up there, he must have gone home to Florida. There's no record of his death in Chicago, and I get back to Florida every year. I look around for Blind Blake. I learned a lot of songs from different old guitar players I met, and I figured it'd be nice to meet Blind Blake, but I ain't found him yet. Though I might have. I was doing a show in Orlando, Florida, not too far from Disney World. The Great Southern Music Hall with Delbert McClinton and his great band, 1978. And before the show started, I was out there on the street taking pictures of my name in lights. Hey, the folks back home still don't believe I do this for a living. And through my Instamatic camera viewfinder, there I saw an old blind man coming down the street, cane moving along. Thought to myself, imagine if that might be Blind Blake. As he got closer, I noticed he had a guitar hanging off his back on a string. I said, hey, heart beating fast, this really might be Blind Blake. What would I do? First thing I did was took a drink. I reached out to attract the man's attention. I missed him. He was moving along fast, but he was good with that cane. I ran down the street, tapped him on the shoulder, and he spun himself around where I was, pointed right at me. I said, excuse me, sir. He said, yep. Now, I didn't want to say a dumb thing like, do you play guitar, you know? People ask me that at the airport, 2 guitars in a suitcase. I said, excuse me, sir, I also play the guitar. He said, do you? I said, yeah, I do. He says, what kind of music do you play on your guitar? I was proud. I said, you remember back in Jacksonville, 1923, 24, the way them boys used to whoop out them old-fashioned blues on a guitar? They'd sometimes do it way over on the West Coast around Tampa and St. Pete and Sarasota. He said, yeah, I remember that. I said, that's what I play. I said, what kind of music do you play on your guitar? Heart beating a mile a minute. Here it was. He said to me, well, I said to myself this morning, Ferdinand, when I got this guitar in the pawn shop, you'll learn to pick the guitar like them boys used to whoop the blues in Jacksonville in 1920 and 22, sometimes over in Tampa and St. Pete and Sarasota. I said, you mean you don't play the guitar? He said, well, I'm going to. He said, maybe you got a few minutes you could show me how to play one of them old blues songs. I looked around for witnesses to document this, because this is a total reversal of the how it's supposed to be. Young white fella teaching old black man how to play the blues. Could have been a pilot for a TV show or something. Not a soul in sight. I sat down on the corner with him and tried to teach him this old song, and he could not get it. Couldn't come close. And I told him that I'm doing a show right here in this theater here, and you could come as my guest. I think you'd enjoy it. He said, oh, I can't do that. I don't have time. I got a date tonight. 81 years old. I said, if you don't keep messing with women, you'll never learn how to play a guitar. He said, I'll get to it. He went his way. Well, I went inside and did my part of the show. And during the intermission, I was up in the dressing room eating hors d'oeuvres and drinking wine with Delbert McClinton and his band. That's what they do up there in between shows, you know. And I didn't have a whole lot to tell them. And so I told them a little story that happened to me in front of the theater this afternoon. And they listened and they laughed a little bit like y'all did. Our bass player was slapping his side, choking, laughing, tears coming down his eyes. I looked at him. I said, well, it wasn't that funny. Checking out his cigarette, see what was going on there. He said, think about it. I said, what do you mean think about it? He said, that probably was Blind Blake, and he'll get more laughs telling that story than you ever will. So I might have picked with the great Blind Blake one day back in 78. It's a song I tried to teach him. Came out in 1929. Blues song with a moral. Done in the traditional Florida style. Well, I met a gal at a cabaret, and she said, "Pretty papa, are you going my way?" Well, she was mad to know what it was all about. She took me home just to kick me out. But she broke my nose and she split my chin. Said she didn't want me hanging around again. She chased me out through the kitchen and into the hall, beat me with a chair till my head got sore. I said, "That'll never happen no more. That'll never happen no more. That'll never happen no more. Never happen no more. A nickel is a nickel and a dime is a dime. Got a house full of children, ain't one of them mine. Never happen no more." Lived in Chicago winter and fall, taught me to wear my overalls. I got broke and it was my fault. I was used to eating pork chops without no salt. I met a gal, she had a big mink coat. You know, she had a Cadillac car and a 40-foot boat. She pulled a gun and she took my dough, but I didn't holler and I didn't get sore. I said, "That'll never happen no more. That'll never happen. Never happen no more." Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I had a sweet little wife that I never could trust, but that'll never happen no more. Well, I went to a party last Saturday night and got into drinking. I was feeling alright. Lit up a reef and I smoked some gin. Sat back waiting for the fun to begin. Little pretty mama come up to me. She said, "Hey Roy, Daddy, let's." I woke up next morning in an empty bed. Pockets they was empty and a pain in my head saying, "That'll never happen no more. That'll never happen no more. Never happen no more." Did you know I was out on my wagon trying to sell some coal? A good guy around the corner selling all a jelly roll. That'll never happen no more. That'll never happen no more. Thank you. That'll never happen no more. Been a lot of good blues songs written about drinking. I hope not. I wanted to take my gal to a social dance, but I didn't have no seat in my pants. She give me $4 and she brought me in. I took the money and I bought me some gin. The gin done it, whoa doggone it. The gin made a fool out of me. The gin made a fool out of me. I tore my hair, I walked the streets. I wanted to whoop everybody that I did meet. Along come Billy, said, "My good friend, you know I whooped him bad until it was a sin." I said, "The gin done it, whoa doggone it, the gin made a fool out of me." Now I went to a crap game, and to my disgrace, run everybody right out of that place. The dice, they was loaded and it made me sore. I left them hustlers lying dead on the floor. I said, "The gin done it, whoa doggone it, the gin made a fool out of me. The gin made a fool out of me." went to the church to do the holy roll. You know, I grabbed me a sister, gonna convert her soul. 2 minutes later, the preacher walked in. She stopped rolling with me. She started rolling with him. Whoa, doggone it, the gin made a fool. Gin made a fool out of me. Took my cow to see the doctor man, because there was one thing about her I didn't understand. I milked her good about 10:30. She didn't give me nothing but a bucket of gin. I said, the gin done it. Whoa, doggone it, the gin made a fool. I said, I made a fool, you know, the gin made a fool out of me. Now I went downtown at 4:30. I stole 2 pork chops from the butcher man's store. They locked me up, and the judge, he said, Roy, it takes 6 months just to clear up your head. I said, Your Honor, have mercy. It wasn't none of my fault. You can't do this to me. You know, the gin made it wasn't my fault, but Your Honor, gin done. Thank you. I'm going to do a Little Hat Jones song for you called Kentucky Blues, but Little Hat Jones was from Texas. But we didn't spend a whole lot of time there. But he was influenced by Blind Lemon Jefferson's playing. Little Hat Jones made 10 records in his entire life, 5 on January 29 and 5 in June 1929. That was that. Never found anybody knew anything about Little Hat Jones. It's a bold assumption on my part to even think he wore a little hat, but that's all I got to go on. Here it is. Whilst we was here, we was having some fun. The laws jumped up, said nobody run. Long gone from Kentucky, long gone, got away lucky. Left so keen, I'll be gone like a submarine. You know my woman poked her head up from the windows a bit. Said don't let him kill Bookbinder dead yet. I said don't you worry, mama, cause it won't be long. I'm gonna leave you here, woman, sing your worried song. Again I left the keen, I'll be gone like a submarine. Once knowed a man, I called him Austin Jack. Stop and put the bloodhounds on my track. Know the blinders could not catch my scent. Could not tell where the little Hattie went, because he left so keen, gone like a submarine. Yonder comes Santa Fe, passing and flying. You ought to see me reach up and grab the blind. I said I'm long gone from Kentucky, long gone, I got away lucky. Left so keen, I'll be gone like a submarine. Well, now Don't play the dozens, neither the tens. But if you keep on talking, gonna ease you in. You keep on talking, gonna make me mad. I'm gonna tell you about the fathers, did your mother. I don't play the dozens, I declare, man, and neither the tens. Whilst we was here, had some fun, the laws jumped up and said nobody run. Long gone from Kentucky, long gone, I got away lucky. Well, I'm gonna sing this verse, I'm gonna sing no more. Long gone from Kentucky, long gone, I got away lucky. Left Sakine, I be gone like a submarine. Yeah, I left Sakine like a submarine. Left Sakine, be back in San Antonio tonight. Yeah, that was hot. I know a blues song is quite unique. The thing that fascinated me about this music when I got started was how different each singer was, and it seemed, you know, before Saturday Night Live and Fridays and all that stuff, a young guitar player didn't know who he was supposed to sound like to sell records, and everybody played their own way. No records, no radio, no TV, you know. Of course, there were little things that influenced music, like the Mississippi River. All the singers in St. Louis heard the people in the Mississippi singers when they'd go on vacation, come up the river, you know. The people in Mississippi, they'd get to hear the Memphis players when they got sold down the river, stuff like that. This is actually a St. Louis piece by the late Charlie Jordan, but it sounds a little bit like a Mississippi piece because he must have hung out by the river. Maybe. Hunky Tunky Blues. Going uptown, tell the chief of police my baby quit me and I can't find no peace. Lord, I'm going uptown, I'm gonna have to tell the chief of police. You know my baby, she quit me, I can't find me no peace. Everybody's talking about their Hunky Tunky Blues. Good God Almighty, don't know what I'm gonna have to do. Said that everybody's talking about their Hunky Tunky Blues. I said, now good God Almighty, don't know what I'm gonna have to do. You know my mama said she told me, yeah, my papa told me too. Let this barrelhouse and women's be the death of you. My mama told me, my papa told me too. Don't let this barrelhouse women be the death of you. Woman that I'm loving, she's damn 5 foot from the ground. She's a tailor-made woman, she ain't no hand-me-down. Said a woman that I'm loving, no, she's standing 5 foot from the ground. She's a tailor-made woman, girl, no hand-me-down. Going uptown and tell the chief of police My baby quit me and I can't find no peace. Lord, I'm going uptown. I'm gonna have to tell the chief of police. You know my baby, she quit me. Find me no peace. Hunky Tunky Blues. Thank you. Thank you very much. Blues song could be written about anything, you know. There's one written about the King of England. Hard to believe the King of England could have the blues at all. This came out in 1936, I believe. 36, 37. King Edward. King Edward was fooling around with Mrs. Simpson, you know. The powers above told the King of England, King Edward, Edward, they said, you can't do this. She's a divorced woman. Doesn't look right. You know, you being king and all. They said, you can't be the King of England and have Mrs. Simpson both. Imagine telling the King of England that. Well, you know what he did? He took the crown and gave it one of these. Kept Mrs. Simpson. I was researching that when I was over in England, but I got drunk. Got home to Tampa, Florida, and right there on WEDU TV, educational TV, they had the whole scoop on Mrs. Simpson, the king. I missed a few episodes, but that's basically what happened. Just when that happened, when that broke on the news, Blind Willie McTell, a great blues singer from Atlanta, was playing his 12-string guitar in the parking lot of a Piggly Wiggly market down there. And I heard that on a news broadcast, and he was so moved by that, he decided to write a song, and he come out with a song, he called it Baby It Must Be Love, or the King Edward Blues. In G. Tell me, honey, tell me, please, is my lover hard to please? Getting groggy in my knees, baby, it must be love. Well, I don't like your little suits and ties. They don't never seem to harmonize. Now they don't match your big brown eyes. Baby, it must be love. I hear the church bells ringing, I see them visions clear. I hear them birdies singing, good word, there ain't no birdies near. Tell me, honey, is my lover hard to please? Getting groggy in my knees, baby, it must be love. Funny feeling oozing up my spine, to my head like sherry wine. Makes me think that the world's all mine, baby, it must be love. I hear them church bells ringing, see them visions clear, hear them birdies singing, good word, there ain't no birdies near. So tell me, honey, tell me please, is my lover hard to please? I'm getting groggy in my knees, baby, it must be love. A rich man, poor man, a beggar man, king, make you give up everything. Every time that you feel that sting, baby, it must be love. Tell me, honey, now tell me, please, is my lover hard to please? I'm getting groggy in my knees, baby, it must be love. You know, it made a preacher put his Bible down, and it made a rabbit want to hug a hound. Made King Edward give up his crown, baby, it must be, baby, you know the baby, it must be love. King Edward Blues. Thank you very much. And I was telling you about learning the blues from a preacher. Old Reverend Gary Davis from Greenville, South Carolina. He made it up to New York City to make records. Went up there with a great harmonica player, Sonny Terry, and Blind Boy Fuller, made a bunch of records. And it didn't work out so good because he got religion and they wanted to record blues songs and he wanted to record spirituals, and they threw him out of the studio. And he came home, got his wife, and moved back to New York and spent 40 years, not 40, 30 years, 20 years, 1935. Oh, he spent a long time up there. Take my word for it. He sang on the streets, old blind man with a tin cup tied on his guitar, singing spirituals and playing the guitar and making a living that way. In 1961, folk music started to boom throughout the land, and Peter, Paul, and Mary put together a little group, and they made a record on Warner Brothers, and they recorded a song they heard the old preacher sing on the streets. This record sold 1 million copies. Reverend Davis built him a little house in Long Island, house we lovingly remember as the house that Peter, Paul, and Mary built. Old Reverend Davis bought himself a brand new 1961 Ford Fairlane. Reverend Davis got him a manager and an agent, a record contract. He started touring the world. I met Reverend Davis. I liked the way he played the guitar, and I convinced him that he couldn't live without me helping him out, and he took me on the road with him. There I was, traveling around with old Reverend Davis. We'd get home to the little house, and we'd spend a lot of time in the basement, finished basement down there, and we'd play the guitars all day long and talk and smoke cigars, you know. I said, Reverend Davis, and he said, Roy. I said, now you weren't always a preacher. In the olden days, you must have been a blues singer, I bet. He said, well, I know some of them old blues songs. I said, well, why don't you teach me some of them, because I like them old blues songs. And he'd get very excited and involved in it, and we'd get into it real good, and then you'd hear Sister Davis coming down the steps with wash for her laundry, her washing machine down there that Peter, Paul, and Mary. Reverend Davis switched into old-time religion like that. Sister Davis would go back upstairs, and we'd get back into the blues. Sister Davis come down again. Sister Davis was, I'm sure, looking out for my own welfare. She knew what was going on there. She was rewashing clean clothes. I knew that she was doing that, but Reverend Davis would not sing a blues in front of Sister Davis. It took a long time to learn this song. A nickel is a nickel, a dime is a dime, a house full of children, none of them are mine. Tell me how long must I wait? Can I get you now, or must I hesitate? Well, I got hesitating stockings, hesitating shoes, a hesitating woman and a hesitating blues. Tell me, how long must I wait? Can I get you now? Must I hesitate? I never been to heaven, but I've been told St. Peter's taught them angels all a jelly roll. Must I wait? Can I get you now, or must I hesitate? Well, I ain't no doctor, No doctor man's son. Like to work on your case until your doctor comes. Tell me how long must I wait? Can I get you now or must I hesitate? And now I ain't no baker man's son. Like to warm your biscuits till your baker comes. Tell me how long must I wait? Can I get you now? Must I hesitate? And now I ain't no plumber man's son. Right there, Sister Davis, come down the steps. Reverend Davis, his dying day, would never sing that again to me. Down there. Now I was born in the country, raised in town. I got the Elgin movements from my hips on down. How long must I wait? I was born in Louisiana, in the middle of a swamp. Like a backwater frog, you know I'm ready to jump. How long? Well, now I dance with a woman that they called Cherry Red. I got to boogie and a fool fell dead. Thank you. We'll be back in a few minutes. Request, and I'll do it. We'll get a whole lot of requests that I can do. Song was originally recorded by Jimmy Rogers. So very well for him. 1931, Blind Blake in Chicago took the same song where he worked it a little bit. So very well for him. 1946, Webb Pierce put it out with the swing sound. It sold very well for him. In the 50s, Johnny Cash put it out on one of his B-sides, and it sold very well for him. Man asked me what song I wanted to record in 1968. I recorded the same song. Got a few copies over here by the piano. I had an old friend named Campbell. Campbell used to steal and gamble. He made his living cheating all the while. Well, he had a little game and he called it euchre, blackjack, dice, and sometimes poker. I thought he was the smartest dude in town. But I found out last Monday they locked up Campbell on Sunday, and they got him in that jailhouse way downtown. You know they got Campbell locked in the jail. Nobody here's going to go his bail, and the judge he said he wouldn't accept no fine. He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now. I told Campbell once or twice, stop his playing cards and shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse now. Well, I remember last election, all the folks was in action, trying to get themselves a president. Along come my brother, the name of Bill Austin, and he walked from Johnson City north to Boston, trying to find himself an honest gentleman. Well, my brother Billy was a voter. Billy was a big promoter, always looking for some good advice. You know they told Bill to go to the poll, to vote right across that very top row. Instead of voting once, that fool he voted twice. He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now. I told Billy back at home to leave the politicians' business alone. He's in that jailhouse now. Well, I went to town last Friday. I met a little gal called Heidi, and I thought she was the prettiest gal in town. You notice she began to spend my money, and I began to call her honey. We went into a swell little cafe and we sat down. Well, folks, I was really in it, spending almost every minute, buying port, wine, whiskey, and a homebrew by the quart. But when I went to pay that man, I found a little lady's hand in my pocket where my money was. She's in that graveyard now. She's in the graveyard now. I told that judge to his face, the little lady's hand was out of place. She's in the graveyard. She's pushing up daisies, and I'm in the jailhouse. You wonder why I treat you so. You should be set up first to know, good gal, I don't love you no more. Good gal, I don't love you no more. You might say, changing fast, good things in life don't never last. Good gal, I don't love you no more. Good gal, I don't love you no more. Well, you used to treat me so low down, like I was your old meat hound. Good gal, I don't love you no more. Good gal, don't love you no more. Remember you promised to treat me right. I started your line saying out each night. Good gal, I don't love you no more. Good gal, don't love you no more. Well, you used to treat me like your dog, but I done learned to jump from broad to broad. Good gal, don't love you no more. Good gal, don't love you no more. Might as well tell you the fact. Got me a new gal tight like that. Good gal, I don't love you no more. Good gal, said I don't love you no more. So look here, mama, you're playing too fast. You're gonna find yourself a broken yes. Good gal, don't love you no more. Good gal, I don't love you no more. Good gal. Thank you. Thank you. That's another old Carolina blues piece. Josh White did that in the olden days. Josh White was one of the great Carolina players. One I got from Pink Anderson, it's called Travelin Man. Become a theme song written on the side of my truck. Everywhere I go, people think I'm Rick Nelson. Just wanted to tell you about a man named Coons. His home was down in Tennessee. He made his living, he was stealing chicken and anything that he could see. That Popeye man, you know that he runs so fast, his feet never stayed in a row. And when a freight train passed, didn't matter how fast, he'd always get on board. He was a traveling man, certainly was a traveling man. He was the most travelingest man ever in that land. Where he traveled everywhere, known for many miles around. Didn't get caught and he never got whooped until the police shot him down. You know that the police, they shot him with a rifle. The bullet went through his head. The people, they was coming from miles around just to see if that boy was dead. That telegram down south where his mama lived, she was all upset and carried away with tears. Walked up and opened up the coffin's lid, but that fool had disappeared. He was a traveling man, certainly was a traveling man. He was the most, that's right, he traveled everywhere and he was known for miles around. But he didn't get caught, never got whooped until the police shot him. You all heard about the Titanic ship, I presume. He was on it, it was sinking down. He was standing out by the railing and he had his head hung down. When that boy jumped overboard, everybody they said he was a fool. About 2 minutes right after that, he was shooting dice in Liverpool. He was a traveling man, that's right. Certainly was. He must have talked to me. Like working with a ventriloquist dummy. This guitar knows the songs better than I do. He was a traveling man, he certainly was he was the most ever. In that, he traveled everywhere, known for many miles around. He didn't get caught and he never got whooped till the police shot him down. The police hired themselves an automobile purpose just to chase old coons. Chased that man from 6 o'clock one morning till 7:30 the next afternoon. You know that the Popeye man run so fast that fire come from his heels. He burned up that cotton and he scorched the corn. They could have drove through the farmer's field singing, I'm a traveling man. Certainly was a traveling, the most that ever was in that travel. Known for didn't get caught and never got whooped until the police shot it down. The boy went to the spring one day just to get himself a pail of water. The distance that the rascal had to go was no more than 2 miles and a quarter. He got there and got his water, started back and he stumbled and fell down. But he ran back to the house, got himself another bucket and caught the water before it touched the ground. Traveling man, certainly was. Well, now the police caught this traveling man at last. They had him up to hang one day. All the jurymen asked that man, what did he have to say? He begged the jurymen if they would just bow their heads in prayer. And then he crossed one leg and he winked one eye and he went up through the air. That was that.
Roy Bookbinder.